Okay, yeah, I think we're live, dude. Let me just check.
Yeah, we're live.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Yeah. G'day. All right. So All right. I gotta get this feedback off. Yep. I'm just getting feedback. So. Oh, that should be good, man. Yeah. Hi, Megatron. How are you, man?
Hello, J-Nish. How are you, bro?
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Um.
good, thank
Yeah. So I just wanted to. Yeah. Everyone who doesn't know Megatron, he's an awesome dude, young man. He's a Christian convert. Um. Originally a Muslim, yeah. From Azerbaijan.
you. Yeah, so
And
I come from a Shia Muslim family in Azerbaijan. Not necessarily the most religious family out there, but we did stick to our traditions, especially on my grandfather's side. Um, Around in my early teens, I never really had a religion. Then I started doing some investigation over the world's major religions, Islam, Christianity, and I came to the conclusion that for me, Christianity is the correct religion.
okay, so it was for you. Was it a gradual thing, or was it like how did it
Yeah,
work
man,
out?
it wasn't overnight. It took me a good maybe 3 years. Yeah, especially at one point, I was like very close to actually becoming a Muslim, but I had doubts which kept me back, and I ended up doing a lot more scholarly research on it. And then I came, if a God does exist and he has revealed himself in any way, shape, or form throughout history, it's only through the person of Christ that he's revealed himself.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I think like a lot of people on the Hangouts and have seen you on Titans TV have noticed is like you're like super knowledgeable, man. You're like like a true scholar,
I'm
and
not a true scholar at all, bro. I'm just
well,
learning bit by bit
yeah,
every day. Trust
well,
me, I've got
yeah,
there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge and a lot of things I'm learning and I hold this to myself. I always try to be as open-minded as possible. If I see evidence that points to something that I've promised to God, I will always follow it and never let my own feelings or emotions ever get in the way.
yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's just the search for truth, really, and like that's the sort of thing that, like I said, like everyone is like, they're kind of, you're hot news around town, man, because you're super knowledgeable, man, and it's just kind of rare these days. Like we see, like like I'm a big fan of Speaker's Corner, and obviously it's the Speaker's Corner after hours, and like the thing that I noticed was that like Islam is like really on the rise, and they're
Yeah, man,
really
I
really
call
active.
Speaker's Corner Wahhabi headquarters.
Yeah, well, they're definitely active, man, and like so, it's really nice and refreshing to see, which is fine. Like I've got nothing against Islam per se, but they definitely got the commitment there, and it's sort of like we can see it's lacking in Christianity. So it's really nice to sort of see, people like
Mm.
Bob the Builder and people like yourself up and coming. People that really know their business and a different sort of Christian. You're not really you're not sort of not totally the other type, turn the cheek kind of guy.
No,
Mm.
man, no, definitely not.
So
I will always try to be as respectful and as courteous. Even if someone is rude to me, I'll still try to give them the upper hand and, turn my other cheek. But if I see someone being disingenuous when it comes to the way they approach things, then, I'm hunting you down, symbolically speaking, that is.
yeah, definitely, and yeah, it's I think everyone sort of noticed that you sort of, and you look like you're rearing to go. You look like you're ready to get down to Speaker's Corner and take on some of the people, and
Yeah.
who's your
My
biggest
friend
target
and
down
I,
there?
Kieran Murphy, you probably know him. Me and him are planning to buy a nice camera, sort out our equipment this summer. Then we'll be heading down to London, um, in the next few months, hopefully.
Yeah, I think there's hopefully we're going to see a real sort of turnaround down at Speaker's Corner and sort of see, sort of a wider variety of faiths and ideologies, and sort of even non-religious sort of people getting down there and challenging what you call it, Wahhabi headquarters.
Yeah, man. Because if you think there's a good maybe 15 Islamic Dawah YouTube channels pertaining around Speaker's Corner, and there's only one good Christian channel, soccer films. I'm not a big fan of DCCI. They're all right, but I'm not a big fan, and we're ridiculously disproportionate at Speaker's Corner, and I think it's our obligation to really fight back and to show that Christianity is an intellectual viewpoint that one can hold in the 21st century, because you see a lot of the insults made by Muslims um, that Christianity, it's a pseudo-intellectual religion. But I think that's the fault of some Christians at Speaker's Corner. They're not learned in their faith and they misrepresent it. They don't understand it. And I just need that we really need to, before we start criticizing other religions, we really need to understand our religions, our own religion. And I was watching a lecture by R.C. Sproul the other day, and he said, the Muslims have shown us up that we don't even know what we believe in anymore. And I completely agree with them. And it's our obligation to turn this situation around.
Yeah, totally, man. And that's like you said, that's one good thing that's come out of the internet. And I think like Islam has definitely got a bit of a head start on everybody else, and you can see they're rightfully boastful. They're rightfully so too. Like Islam is spreading, and they're definitely organized, and they've got like they're very media savvy. So it's good to see Christianity sort of striking back. And I'm like I wouldn't call it an atheist, but like I'm not religious, but I definitely appreciate Christianity, and watching this sort of just this new generation of social media evangelists is like really, it's really nice to see. I would almost call it like a true Christianity, like sort of there's something that I see in people like Bob the Builder and yourself, which is different to my traditional sort of view or sort of perception of Christians and Christianity. And I think so. Like, do you belong to a church, or like, are you just what's your deal, man?
Sorry, what church I attend?
Do you attend church?
Yeah, I attend a very good non-denominational church here in the northeast of England.
Okay, and they're supportive of what you're doing and sort of maybe getting active. And
that's my pastor is supportive, but he says the first obligation for a Christian, because I've only been a Christian for about 2 years, and he says to me that I've still got to learn a lot spiritually and really develop and really build on my relationship with God. And he certainly has a point. And so yeah, they are supportive, but they also say never forget, you can do so much of scholarship, you can learn what all the scholars say, but then you can forget to pray to God and these simple things. So it's important to have a balance in life.
Yeah, like yeah, but I kind of like the idea of Megatron getting out there and kicking ass, man. To be honest, like yeah. So maybe don't take my advice, don't take his advice, dude, because like I think the world needs it, man, and the world needs especially young Christians. Like I said, there's plenty of young Muslims, but young Christians are a real rarity, and
definitely.
Yeah, especially ones with balls, man. Like it's nice to sort of see. People with a bit of inner man, a bit of inner strength.
Definitely.
So who's on your target list at Speaker's Corner?
Oh, Hamza Mayat, definitely. Hashim. Those two mainly, and then hopefully after that Ali Dawah.
Yeah. Ali Dawah, go easy on Ali Dawah, man. He's starting to grow on me.
Right.
Did you watch
honest, I've got a soft spot for him because I just think he's so fantastically retarded. I almost feel sorry for him.
No, man, he's got balls of steel. I was watching yesterday the at the Tommy Robinson march.
Yeah. He's actually very clever. Like he's very clever. Like he used this is how clever he is. The right are like complaining that free speech is not being established in this country well enough. So he's trying to play it at their own game. So he went to that event yesterday and he showed to them just how intolerant they are when it comes to freedom of speech. And now he is using that to propagate Islam and to show the double standards and inconsistency of the right. So he's very clever, Ali Dawah. He knows exactly what he's doing. Very intelligent.
I have to agree with you there. And like I was a bit disappointed in I was really hoping that the freedom of speech, that wouldn't see any. When I saw that Ali Dawah and hijab were going down there, I was hoping that there wouldn't be violence. But like I found it really interesting, like when it did kick off. I don't know if you noticed, but Muhammad Hijab, he lost his bottle, man. He sort of went down into
To
the
be
fetal
honest, right,
position.
Muhammad Hijab is 6'7". He goes there wearing a gum shield, and then he
Yeah,
says, "I'm ready to die for Allah." What does he expect, for them to come and start
yeah.
stroking him?
Yeah. But he
No, I
folded, man. He folded under pressure, and you have Ali Dawah running towards them with his arm in the air, waving his speech. It was quite funny. That's why I said I lost a lot of respect for hijab and gained a whole heap of respect for Ali Dawah.
I'm just worried. Like, karma's like an amazing thing. The amount of people he's bullied with his size, and he's threatened to have an MMA fight with them, and it's all come back on his head. And he got a bit beaten up yesterday.
Yeah. It's be careful what you kind of wish for, and
Yeah,
I
man,
think
definitely.
even with the whole Ali Dawah and Tommy Robinson debacle, it's really what kicked off this sort of microscope, or this that's been sort of now pointed towards Speaker's Corner. It's like it seems to be like the battleground of ideologies and free speech. So I think it's going to be a really good next couple of years.
Definitely. But I've got a sneaky suspicion Speaker's Corner is going to get shut down soon.
I really hope not.
I hope not as well. But the way things are going, if it begins to escalate the way it has, then yeah, I do believe it will shut down.
Yeah, I mean it's a possibility, but sort of I think sort of hopefully like social media can kind of preempt that in a way, and like if more people like yourself get down there with taking the intellectual fight rather than the physical fight, that could be as long as it's a lot of eyes are on it. I don't think they can, or there maybe less chance of sort of shutting it down.
Definitely.
So did you? So I mean, did you? How did you discover Speaker's Corner? Like, was that one of the things that you sort of found when you were looking at religions?
Yeah, man, it's pretty hard not to miss it. It's just become such a global thing. You have people from all over the world watching it, from Malaysia, Indonesia, everywhere, man.
Yeah, you really do. And the thing that I find like fascinating about it all is that, and this is one thing that I don't think the some of the Muslims down there haven't quite figured out yet, is that as long as YouTube is there, it's sort of preserved for all time, so people can go back and
what goes on the internet stays on the internet.
That's correct. So it's people can get a good sense of how things transpired. It's almost like reading a novel. People in generations will be able to go back and sort of look at it and watch.
Like, what's his name? Abdul Hamid. If he goes and applies for a job, they can just look him up on Speaker's Corner and then see what a thug of a person he is. So, it's very important to be as courteous and, have basic manners there at Speaker's Corner. Because especially for me, if I'm going there, I'm representing Christianity and Jesus most of all. So it's important to have that level of respect for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's I think kind of like the best way to sort of attract people to the religion or give dawah really is by your actions, like by your behavior and how you carry yourself.
I mean, the Muslims always boast about how many converts they've had at Speaker's Corner, but I guarantee you, the way they've acted themselves up in that place, how many Muslims faith have been disgusted by the actions which they've perpetrated there. Let me give you an example. There's a YouTube scholar, a Muslim scholar, highly intelligent person called Mufti Abu Layth. Someone asked about Speaker's Corner, and he said simply, Speaker's Corner is an absolute joke. It is if you think about it, and I completely agree with him, because the way the Muslims have shown their religion there, their attacks on other religion, the way they start fights, it's just become awful.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. And sometimes it's hard to sort of, like, from an outsider's perspective, it's hard to differentiate, the groups there. And that's one thing I've really noticed lately, is that it's becoming apparent that there are cracks within the Muslim community, that it's not like this sort of that it's not a sort of monoculture, they're not all in agreement. Couldn't be further from the truth. There's big division within the Muslim community, and I think it's great that some of the like myself personally, I've discovered people like the Shia Blade Runner brothers,
the
and
Shia, man, the Shias, man. I come from a Shia background, and I never really knew about Shiism properly. And when I started studying religion, I studied Islam and Christianity. I studied mainly Sunni Islam. I didn't even bother to look at the religion of my grandparents and my father. But really, they've given me a good insight on how there's such a different perspective on Islam. Islam and Shiism and Sunniism is just like two different religions altogether when it comes to theology and who Muhammad was and what did he achieve and how they view the Quran. It's two separate religions. So really, Shia, Blade Runner, Raza as well, they've really shown what intellectuals they are, their mannerisms, they're calm, they're cool, they're collected, highly intelligent. And yeah, so big up to the Shias. Everyone loves them, whether they're agnostic or atheist or people who are just interested in religion or Christians. One thing we can all unanimously agree is that the Shias have beautifully represented their religion.
Yeah, they really have. They I think sort of similar to what you're sort of saying. They understand that it's really about how you carry yourself and how other people perceive you. And that's really, really important. And I've got to agree with you, man. Like sort of coming in and discovering the nuances of Islam for myself. I've been blown away with how the Shia Blade Runner guys or Raza have really presented.
I've started respecting Islam a lot more, and I've started looking into how the Shias view Islam, and they view it all through that the Prophet's family was ordained to give the correct interpretation of Islam. And I've started respecting the Prophet Muhammad a lot more. I started respecting Islam a lot more, and the Sunnis online, they're like, oh, the kuffar will always side with the Shias because they hate Shias more than anything. And I'm just like, no, it's just because they're good people, and you can sense that, and the way they come across, and yous are all just getting butthurt because we've seen what vindictive maniacs you people can be at Speaker's Corner. So yeah, big up to the Shias, man.
Yeah, you got to remember, like I think Abu Layth is actually Sunni as well, so it's it's not just
he's a Maliki scholar. He is actually Sunni, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it's really interesting once you sort of, and I think that's one of the problems. Is it's this very small sort of portion within Islam, and so some call it Salafi, but from my understanding, it's not. There's even differences within Salafi. As someone sort of recently told me as well. But it's this one particular brand of Salafism, and they're very loud, and they actually do. Other Muslims are actually intimidated from speaking up. And I think like the current, this current era that we're in of political correctness really hasn't helped the situation at all either, because you can't even criticize Islam without being called an Islamophobe, and we really need to be talking about it.
I honestly hope the Shias convert all the Wahhabis to Shiism. I honestly pray to God.
Yeah,
long live Shiism.
yeah, Ali. So, where do you think the direction is going for Christianity? Do you see, or religion in general?
In Speaker's Corner or overall?
In the world, in the West in particular.
It definitely the traditional denominations within Christianity. Let's take the Church of England, for example, or the Catholic Church. They've shrunk in power, in political power, in numbers, in religiosity, a lot in the past, 70, 80 years. However, when you look at the Russian Orthodox Church, after how they were persecuted during the communist era, now the Russian Orthodox Church has a very powerful political backing in Russia. They've grown a lot in numbers over the past 20, 30 years. If you look at even evangelical Christianity, for example, has produced twice the rate of growth compared to Islam. So,
Oh wow.
the non-traditional sects in Christianity, they're spreading like a wildfire across the country, across the world. But the traditional ones, the most like, let's say, the Episcopalian churches, or the Church of England, the Church of Scotland, the Church of Wales, um, these mainstream like Methodist church, they're all pretty much dying, man. But
Mm.
they're really like the the Christianity that's got a bit of balls to it. They're grown, they're willing to go, debate stage and debate. They're willing to be a bit more aggressive. They're not ashamed of their faith. And they're grown. So, we really need to, the Bible says that Jesus says, I will never let Hades and hell to prevail over my church. And I do believe that. So, I think it's our job, the next generation of Christians, even though we're in a minority, we really need to reignite the passion, the burning passion for people to see the intellectual side of Christ and to see how one can build a relationship with him as well.
Yeah, and I think like people like yourself are doing a really good job doing that. And like just like I said, like sort of
Well,
in
I
my
haven't even
journey.
started yet, man.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna be one dangerous man, one dangerous individual,
Thank you,
and
bro. That's just so
yeah.
kind of you.
But it's blown me away, like just sort of seeing how many young people, sort of are so knowledgeable. They really know their faith, they really know their scripture, or they're just searching for whatever they're looking from, even within sort of atheists. I've been blown away that how many people are actually involved in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely out there, and that's sort of great to see because we're living in such a plastic world these days. Such a sort of such a disposable sort of system. And I think it's great to see that people are actually looking a little bit deeper and even just searching for the truth. And I think the main thing is like communicating, like getting out there and having that conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's really happened
Yeah.
for a long time. Um,
Yeah, definitely, man.
what's the internet, isn't it, that sort of changed everything? It gives
Yeah, man.
people the
Yeah, man. The
ability to.
internet is a very powerful thing these days.
Mm. So what about your so you come from I know that you've got little sisters and whatnot, so do you try to sway them into sort of religion as well, or what's your
Um,
relationship at home? Are you an evangelist at home, or
no, well, I try to be gentle. At the end of the day, it's my sister's decision whether she believes in it. I'm not going to force her into anything. Um, but yeah, I'll read Bible passages to her. I'll explain stuff to her. Um, yeah,
and I
but I
know
won't
you're
call myself like a big evangelist. But
I know you didn't
my
have
sister asked about something, I'd be
did you have
happy to help her.
yeah, sorry dude, did you have much issues with your family, like your grandparents and your parents when you decided to leave Islam?
Yeah.
And
Um, Not really my grandparents because they're sort of dead.
yeah.
But my auntie thought of me like in a bad way. Like she wasn't. She thought I was like betraying the family, betraying the traditions. Um, my mum's actually quite happy for me because she said since I've become a Christian, I've become a lot better of a person. So she's happy for me. My dad at first thought I joined some sort of cult. Uh, yeah. But eventually, I think he's starting to warm up as well because the thing about Azerbaijan, it's the least religious Muslim country in the world by statistics. Um, I think due to recent polls, I think only 7% of Azeris say religion is an important thing
Oh,
in their
okay.
life. So it's not like Iran or like Saudi where it's proper strict. It's very tolerant, very modernized. A lot of people, if they are religious, they're either culturally Muslim, or they're semi-practicing. They just hold on to the traditions because it's like to be an Azerbaijani is to be Muslim. Because it
Okay,
still
yeah.
has a very strong Muslim tradition. You know
So
what I mean?
it is a majority Muslim country though. Like there isn't
Yeah,
Christian
yeah. I
parts
think it's
or
yeah. They've got a small Christian minority, but I think it's 95% is Muslim.
yeah, yeah.
95%, something like that.
And so I've also got to ask you, dude, what's with the name and with the avatar, your picture?
Zachariah. Well, basically, Zachariah is Dr. Zachariah, should I say?
Doctor.
Yeah, when I first started studying religion, the first person you come across on the internet is Dr. Zakir
Yep.
Naik
He's there.
and
Yep.
Ahmed Deedat, his master.
Yep.
And, when you listen to them, it's like the stuff that come... when I was 14 years old, I read a book by Ahmed Deedat and I was just blown away by it. I was like, damn, like he's destroyed Christianity, pulverized it. That's why in my younger days, I almost converted to Islam, but I didn't. But then I started really studying what Zakir Naik was saying, and I used to look at his lectures, really study them in depth that he had about Christianity. And I studied them, and I realized, he's lying, he's misconstruing stuff, straw man's, he doesn't understand it. And for example, he once said there are 25 contradictions in the Bible in his debate against Dr. William Campbell. And my pastor, well, the one he gave me, and he answered every single one of those contradictions. And they're not contradictions. Some of them you have to look at the original Hebrew. The other way that you reconcile it is just to look at the surrounding context. The other ones, they're not even contradictions in the first place if you look at it properly. And then I really started studying it because of Dr. Zakir Naik. So in a way, this man actually led me to Christianity. And then I started studying Christianity in depth, and this is what has led me to come to my specific conclusion.
So how did you find your church? Like, what was the process there? Like, how does one go about, like, in this day and age? Like,
well, I went to a Christian school as well in the northeast of England, and the pastor of that church came to do a sermon. Like, in the morning registration, there's like some speaker comes in and talks about a specific issue, and then I got into touch with him. Then I was like debating him for like maybe a year. Like, we got into very bad terms at times because I was very argumentative. I was not humble at all. Really, really hardened my heart. And I used to look for ridiculous excuses not to believe in Christianity. But eventually, you can just, you can push the Holy Spirit so much, but God is eventually always going to win.
So did you come at that from a Muslim perspective or more of an atheist view when you were pushing back against Christianity?
Bro, everything you can imagine.
Yeah.
Everything you can imagine.
So it was almost like denial for you in the beginning, like sort of pushing back against it.
My main one was, why do you believe that Jesus is God? How can you believe Jesus is the Son of God?
Yeah. I can almost hear you saying with Knight's lisp. He's got that funny lisp.
Yeah. Oh, brother, show me where Jesus says, I am God, or where he says, worship me.
Yeah. When I first came across him, I thought I listened to some of the things he said are quite impressive, but, when at the end of it, he has those bits where...
nothing that he says is it's impressive on how he manages to turn bullshit into sounding quite spectacular. That's what's impressive.
Yeah.
But the actual content, it's lacking in truth.
He said one thing which I quite like. I probably will kill it if I paraphrase it, but it was just about sort of our time on earth and sort of how we all sort of react when God sort of sits there and judges us. And I don't think it was a especially an Islamic view, or I think it was more of just a theist sort of view. And I'll always remember that. Like, I thought he did a good job with that, but I can't get past his lisp either. He sounds ridiculous. He looks ridiculous. He's a ridiculous man. Yeah, I'm gonna say it.
Short trousered gentleman.
Yeah. And what about the name Megatron, real quick?
Megatron. I'm a big fan of Transformers. I was always an admirer of Megatron in the first Transformers film. I thought he was pretty badass. The second, third, and fourth, and fifth Megatron was quite bad in it. He was really badass in the first. Then after that, he's really deteriorated.
Yeah.
So he's a character which I've liked from a young age.
I found that really funny. In the last Titans TV episode you were in, someone asked you about it, like who you are, and you're like, I'm the leader of the Decepticons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be a dangerous man, Megatron, when you get out there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you up at Speaker's Corner. And yeah, looking forward to sort of just having more
Yeah.
debates with you, man, and
Yeah.
hearing you rip it
Imagine I
up.
go to Speaker's Corner and I get destroyed in every debate.
No, it's not going to happen, dude. But yeah, I think it'll be worth your while plotting your sort of your targets and doing your research on them, because like I have seen recently, I've seen a couple of people that I know from the Google Hangouts that are, really smart, and I've seen the way sort of people. I think I talked to you about this later. Won't mention any names, but I've seen the way that people can use deception and lies to sort of really throw people off and win debates that way. So it's not always about, sort of, what or sometimes it's, it's about tactics as well. So, but yeah.
It's about not letting them having the upper hand, not letting them off with strawmans, not letting them off with red herrings, sticking to a topic. And it's important to be knowledgeable. My main aim, if anyone has an objection, I've already got an answer to it in my head. But that takes studying, it takes time. As soon as my exams finish this summer, I'm going to buy lots of really great commentaries. I'm going to buy some books on Islam, really start studying the sciences of hadiths and the history of Islam, and also, textual criticism of the Bible, just to make sure I'm really knowledgeable about these things.
Yeah. And I think it's also, like you said, like really important too to go in sort of like looking for truth as well, sort of, so to go in there and not just go in there with an agenda, I think as so many people do, because I think that's important. That's what people see that too, and that sort of that carries, people really notice how some people carry themselves, and others have just become jaded.
Definitely. Yeah, you're not going to bring on any Muslims to debate me.
What do you think? Should we try to invite someone? You got time, or?
I don't know if you could get someone in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, we can try it if you want, or maybe we can leave it for next time. If we can find someone.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a good start for today.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Thanks. We'll wrap it up then. Thanks a lot, Megatron. That's it was really good talking to you.
You too, J-Nish. Thank you very much. Pleasure. My pleasure.
All right, dude.
Thank you.
All right. See you later. All right. Thanks, everyone. Joel. Yeah. So yeah, man, this is the start of it. In the start streaming a couple of introductions to people that I've just met in the Hangouts, and that I reckon are going to be totally deadly at Speaker's Corner. And hopefully some regulars too at Speaker's Corner as well, and then start just streaming panels of discussions and debates, and hopefully we'll get people from Speaker's Corner to come on, and people from the YouTube world and the commentary sections, and people all around the world who are fans of Speaker's Corner can jump on and get involved as well, because I think it's really important that we have this discussion and debate. So yeah, all right guys, thank you. See you later.